Welcome to the Home of the Chiefs podcast, where the Chiefs are our home. Thank you all for joining us. Whether you're watching us or just listening on Spotify, we appreciate all of your feedback and attention and the growth that we're experiencing. So, first off, thank you very much for making us a part of your morning commute, your late night, can't sleep, your baby's being loud, whatever it is, where you incorporate us into your schedule of life. We greatly appreciate that. And
thank you.
Continue to ask for that support. Well, this is our third installment of the Home of the Chiefs podcast, and I will give a little, what I deem to be spoiler alert, that the episode following this one will not contain both of us. And I should be, if everything goes well, I should be with my first guest of the series, hopefully one of many. I won't spoil anything about that until I officially have somebody else sitting in this chair opposite of me. But if that goes well, then stay tuned. That should be the episode for next week. And then we'll get back on our normal schedules, telling you guys about our history and whatnot, and keep intermixing hopefully these special guest episodes. If you can't physically be here with me in the room, that's perfectly okay. I've got the other scenario situations to set up. So if you are somebody who is not in the Kansas City area, but you would still like to have a chance, an opportunity to tell your story, whether it's the Chiefs or any other team that you support, and why that aspect of your life is meaningful to you, please send us a message. Please leave me any comments. My DMs are open, or anywhere you see me post about this wonderful podcast. I accept anybody who sees that to ask to be a part of that as well.
Yeah, we want community engagement. That's kind of the main goal of what we're doing here, is just to get the community involved and talking about what we love most.
So if any of that sounds interesting to you guys, and you think we can make this work, and having this conversation will be a pleasant experience for you, please reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to get an interview or just a conversation set up to let you speak about your life.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Well, I will be excited to be recording that here. Production notes, this is being recorded a day early, because hopefully giving you that chance to spend the normal recording time that I do on the normal recording day, to still have the time to get that done. So I had to drag Shannon in here a day earlier than she's normally used to, so we can go ahead and get our episode squared away for this week. So, like every episode we've started so far, we got Chiefs Twitter to discuss.
Chiefs Twitter news.
So much of the news will come with the coaches and the press conference they had in the last few days. But I think what I want to start with is Cincinnati wide receiver Tyler Boyd. He, for anybody who wasn't aware, was not able to play the full AFC Championship game here in January of this year. And he's proclaiming that if he had played, they would have won. So that's very...
It's almost generic.
It's very assumptuous of you to think, oh, if this one thing had changed, then everything bad that happened changed. Oh man, if Tyreek Hill didn't get stopped before the goal line, second half of the 2022 AFC Championship game, oh, then the Bengals don't even make the Super Bowl, and blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
You can go in this argument of, if I change this one thing, then it changed. If the Chiefs in 1996 7 could have had Lynn Elliott make a single field goal and they made it win again. You know what?
Yeah, you can say that about any team, any guy, literally anything. That's so generic.
So if you're stuck in that thinking like, oh, well, this could have changed, and you're so stuck in the past, you're not going to get through this. You're not focused on the actual task at hand of beating the current day Kansas City Chiefs, not the Chiefs that were lined up on the field in late January when Tyler Boyd cannot finish the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's just pointless to have these conversations, and it's just to get people riled up.
Yeah, it's just that's all it is.
And Cincinnati and Kansas City are definitely growing a larger rivalry with the last few years that they played each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets and feels more and more personal each game. Burrowhead and all that.
Jeez.
I won't mention any more, but that's still a sore point for many others. So yeah, you gotta stay in your lane, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Can't focus on what didn't happen, what could have happened if I was there. I get it. You might feel confident and cocky, and
Mm-hmm.
you might think, oh yeah, if I was there, we would have won. But you can't put those comments out there.
Yeah, because it didn't happen.
You can't say that in front of reporters to let it go online, to have everybody else crap talk it.
Mm-hmm.
You can have your opinions on that, but you can't state for a fact if this would have changed, this would have changed. You're not God. You're not all being.
Yep.
You don't determine everything.
Yep. Agreed.
But then another half of his comments he made to reporters is that he almost thinks like the Cincinnati Bengals have one-upped the Chiefs by signing away Orlando Brown Jr. to play for them versus him being on our team. I'm not discounting that Orlando Brown was a good player and that he worked well for the team, but nobody on the Miami Dolphins said, "Oh, Tyreek Hill on our team's going to instantly make us the best team
Super
ever.
Bowl
We
champions."
got this above the Chiefs now. We have their
Yeah.
weapon, Tyreek Hill."
Yeah.
If Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are still sitting in the same conference room that they always have their talks in, then and Travis Kelce,
Mm-hmm.
then the offense is the same.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter which other moving parts we have. The point is the three main pillars are there. They're the stable. As long as you have them, you can always rebuild and try something new
Mm-hmm.
based on having these two already in the pocket at all times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
And I think that, I mean, I feel like you said, I can tell, or I can know where they're coming from, but it's like still like that's a crazy statement to make.
yeah, it's like, oh, Chiefs weren't claiming that. Oh, we signed Charles Omenihu away from the 49ers. That's going to really make them worse.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we really signed Juwan Taylor from the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's really going to make them worse. It might, in context, sure. But that's not what's being discussed.
Yeah.
Basically saying the Chiefs are worse now that Orlando Brown is not on their team. And I think a lot of Chiefs Kingdom would beg to differ that statement, and not going to, talk badly about anybody who's on the team or anything, but they just know he had his certain limitations. And
Yeah.
there was many clips going around Twitter to show when he was good and when he wasn't good.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, anybody who has been on the Chiefs and then not on the Chiefs anymore, you always have to feel like the Chiefs have some sort of advantage on them because they've had them in their own building. They know what they were like, so they knew what they were bad at, so they made sure that they never had to do those bad things in a way that would get them embarrassed. But now you're not underneath Andy Reid anymore, so Andy Reid is going to do the embarrassing thing to you.
Yeah.
That's what he does. He doesn't try to embarrass you, but the things that he ends up doing embarrasses the crap out of players and coaches because he makes them look foolish.
Yeah.
So the Cincinnati rivalry just keeps growing more and more. And
Not surprising.
Yeah, the Kingdom is excited to have essentially a new foe
Yeah.
to worry about who's going to stop to be able to go to the Super Bowl, and they've made a lot more impacts than Buffalo has because of actually winning the playoffs, actually getting to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So they're getting to be at that level.
Yeah.
Now they like to say that they're already at or above our level. And I can't make any claims like that. You can call me.
We have to see the proof.
You can call me a homer as much as you want. If Tom Brady was still in the league and he was on the same team and they won all their Super Bowls, I wouldn't say, oh, that team is worse than Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if the proof is in the pudding. If they had won Super Bowls and they have these records and all that, then you can't argue it.
Yeah.
Right now, there's things you can maybe argue here, you can maybe argue this, but nothing's really set in stone.
Yeah.
So we will just keep being excited about this rivalry as it grows, and hopefully from a fan's perspective it doesn't have to keep being to a personal level.
Right.
I mean, the Chiefs can feel some type of way about the Broncos, the Chargers, the Raiders, but we're not,
we're not talking smack about them.
Yeah. We're not battling,
disrespecting them,
saying, "Oh, you guys are dumb for even believing this."
Yeah.
Like, we're all, we all like something, just a different flavor, but we all like the same idea. So
yeah,
don't let stuff like that divide people. We can be fun. We can have our ideas that my team's better than your team. Your team sucks. My team's great.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, that's like normal rivalry. But
we don't like dispute people or have other people feel bad because of certain fandoms.
Mm-hmm.
The Chiefs were not known to have giant fans 12, 13 years ago when they still had bad records. Now Chiefs Kingdom knows, and we were here, we were loyal the whole time. But now that the team is really good,
mm-hmm.
then you have the coinciding of bandwagon fans.
Yeah.
So you always have risked that. And, maybe Cincinnati fans, they're just like us. They're Midwest, so they have their diehards. But then you got a cool player on your team, so now a kid wants to care.
Yeah.
The kid doesn't even have to live anywhere near you and
mm-hmm.
still think that you're their team, you're the best. So
yep.
It'll be interesting to watch this rivalry and the Chiefs' history keep unfolding, see who the next big rivals are going to be. I mean, Buffalo, we thought was going to be our rival for a long time. And then Tom Brady, when he was with the Patriots, we thought was going to be our rival for a long time. Or Peyton Manning, and then he dipped out. So
yeah,
you can't really predict these type of moves, but just stay on it and keep being entertained by it. Whatever, entertained.
Yeah. Yep. Entertainment is the name of the game.
Yep. And then our last chunk for this, and I'll say chunk because a lot of small quotes or small topics that probably won't go more than a few sentences each, if that. But the assistant coaches and coordinators spoke this week. And the first thing I'll bring up is a continuation of discussion we've already had on a previous Chiefs Twitter regarding the kickoff rule changes.
Right.
And so the special teams coordinator, Dave Toub, basically says he's not a fan of that rule being changed that way. He would still very much like his team to be how they've done, of run the ball out of the end zone, keep running it out. We still like to be aggressive. We don't like to change how we play.
Yeah.
But he also said that if the situation called for it, that he would do the rule.
Mm-hmm.
So that just, again, made me bring up why even have a kickoff if you can decide that kicking it off doesn't matter. Like, the only reason you would have a kickoff is if you thought the kicker was absolutely terrible and couldn't get it to the 25-yard line, or you thought they'd just kick it out of bounds every time, which would be better. But otherwise, why would we let the foot touch the football, in all honesty? If you just want the ball to be spotted at the 25-yard line so the center can grab it and hand it to the quarterback immediately, what's the point of this kickoff if the rule is insinuating that most people aren't going to do it? I guess we'll ultimately have to see how the season transpires. If, the Chiefs are one of those outlier teams who still are choosing to run it out, and you got like an analytics type team that they never do anything but let the ball touch the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just have to see what the rest of the league thinks. I know a lot of the coaches, special teams related, aren't a fan of it, but let's see if them not being a fan of that rule is still enough for them to keep doing something despite that rule.
Mm-hmm. That's very true.
So then we heard from new wide receivers coach Connor Embry. And he had some thoughts about Sky Moore and Justin Ross.
Mm-hmm.
Basically that he thought that Sky Moore's taken a big leap since last year, and that Justin Ross is definitely showcasing himself as something and has also overcome some injuries and practice behind the scenes, not in games, not in real practices where the kingdom can pay attention to stuff like that. So wide receivers coach is pretty excited about Justin Ross. I know a lot of Chiefs Twitter, and the Kansas City Chiefs are still putting out clips of him and
I've been hearing his name a lot lately.
I know some of the, I wouldn't say diehards, but like the proof is in the pudding kind of crowd, like myself. It's like, okay, you may think that, but he's never been in a regular preseason game. He's never been lined up with another team going against him within the NFL.
That's true.
And anytime he's spoken of, it's like, yeah, he might be like a good third or fourth or fifth guy. But it's like, if these wide receivers we have are so good, how come you can't go on Chiefs Twitter without saying sign D-Hop, sign Hopkins? So how are you going to claim, I like these lower, not as pedigreed wide receivers, but I still want DeAndre Hopkins because my team has no wide receivers. It's very
it's like iffy.
But in piggybacking that, offense coordinator Matt Nagy says that he believes that Kadarius Toney is the number one wide receiver, which a lot of the news out of Arrowhead was saying about that, but a lot of the TV pundits and fans online are saying like, how? He's always been injured. He's never played several games in a row. Even for the Chiefs, he made such a big impact, but he was in a very, very, very small percentage of any snaps that went over the course of a year and during the course of any game. He was not in every snap I'm lined up as wide receiver playing this role.
Right. He hasn't proven himself yet.
I know a lot of Kingdom would definitely be excited and welcome that, because he looks to be such a freak athlete, and he's got like shifty speed, like the equivalent of Tyreek Hill. Not comparing, but like you watch them. Honestly, when I saw a couple of his clips, he definitely looked like a Dante Hall to me.
Oh wow!
Like the shifty jump back and then sprint off, and you don't even see me coming. That's where he excels, is those quick bursts. If you're trying to run at me straight, maybe if I zip over here, you're gonna go by me, and I've got free range. So let's see if Kadarius Toney can stay healthy and if he does grow into that bigger role.
Yes.
And then Matt Nagy also had some comments about Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and then also the running backs coach Todd Pinkston also had some comments about Clyde Edwards-Helaire, basically saying, this is a new year, start fresh. Nothing about the other years matters. Nothing about next year when you're, quote, not on the team right now, wherever you land. None of that matters. Focus on what you can do right here. And, just wait to see what happens after the fact, but make sure to have a positive mind, a positive attitude, like start from scratch, reset button, some quotes. But basically just Clyde, I know last year was rough, and also Pacheco stole your job. But if you stay in the right mindset, if you stay humble, if you stay hardworking, the Chiefs offense will still find ways to use you and make you look good. And the thing about Clyde Edwards-Helaire, ever since he was drafted but never really came out, was he is really good at catching the football and doing passing plays and stuff like that. And the Chiefs have not exploited this strength of his. So the Kingdom has been wondering, when's it going to be the time where so maybe if this is his last year, maybe this is contract years undefeated, RIP Therese Taylor. But like, that's what happens. The last year, you got to prove you're good to get paid. So prove that you're good so you can get yourself paid.
True.
Chiefs Kingdom loves when anybody who played for the Chiefs Kingdom gets signed and paid somewhere else. It's not, oh no, this player is gone, we hate that, or it's so sad. It's like, congratulations.
We want them to have success.
Get generational wealth. Get a Super Bowl ring. Get a Pro Bowl. Whatever it is. If you jump outside the Kingdom to get that, we fully support you.
Oh yeah.
I think that's all we've got for the Chiefs Twitter segment today. When we come back from break, we will be discussing the Chick-fil-A story to start with.
Briefly mentioned in the last podcast, and it was just kind of like moved over. So we want to explain what we meant by Chick-fil-A.
Yep. And then that essentially first year of 2019 being inside of Arrowhead Stadium in our seats, and then move on to some more personal related stories about the 2019 season. So we will be back after this break for our second segment.
What up, KC? On the heels of yet another Kansas City Super Bowl victory, we have an awesome opportunity for you to broadcast your business to the local Kansas City market. We've created something called Kansas City Sports Company, which is a sports media hub for multiple live shows, all of which cover all the local Kansas City teams. Now, we have 30-second ad spots, 60-second ad spots, we have event sponsorships, studio sponsorships, show sponsorships, and much, much more. This is a great opportunity for you to start early with us and broadcast your business to a very dedicated, very enthusiastic Kansas City audience. Contact me or hit the Contact Us link on our website to learn more about this opportunity.
Welcome back to the Home of the Chiefs podcast for your second segment. When we left you off, we told you we were going to tell you the beautiful story of Chick-fil-A / Marcus Kemp. And then we will be going in depth, as much as we can remember, about the 2019 to 2020 regular season into the Super Bowl victory and parade of early 2020. So, with that being said, Shannon, why don't you tell us, what does Chick-fil-A mean?
Okay. So, back in 2018 in the summer, I was working at Chick-fil-A in Overland Park. And what we did, we like kind of switched off roles. So we would do like drive-through one day and then like in the lobby the next day. So I was in the lobby that day. Somebody else was in the drive-through. So the person that was in the drive-through started freaking out, and we were all like, what is happening? Like, she was just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And we all just were like, wait, I'm confused. And it was at like a lull in the day. It was at like 2 or 3 p.m. And funny enough, Marcus Kemp was in the drive-through at our Chick-fil-A, and she had taken his order, and she was gonna have him pull around so he didn't have to wait. and take his food out to him. So she was freaking out that she got to actually meet Marcus Kemp, talk to him, take his order, and give him his food. So that's why we're always going to refer to Marcus Kemp as Chick-fil-A now, because we know he likes Chick-fil-A. We love Chick-fil-A too. Yeah, that was insane. Like, that was my first encounter with really any players or anything like that. And I was excited, even though I didn't get to meet him myself.
Right. So if there's anybody at home listening, and if you have a player that you can now deem as a gas station or a fast food restaurant, please leave those comments and feedback. We would love to hear why somebody else is named something else.
Yeah.
Gotta
Nicknamed.
Gotta love the inside jokeness of it. So if you've got somebody else who's exactly like that for you, but this happened at Popeye and it was this player, please let us know. We'd love to hear it so we can have that person as the other place instead.
Yeah.
By the end of this podcast, we'll hopefully have nobody called their real names, and it's just like McDonald's threw the pass to Wendy's the other day.
Oh, that's awesome. That's why I like living in Kansas City too, is because you never know who you're gonna meet. Like, so many celebrities, not even just football players, like celebrities come through here, and you're just like, I don't know who I'm gonna meet today. So,
and it's not like Los Angeles where there could be more instances where any random celebrity is out and about and you just see them getting food, getting their laundry, whatever the case. But like around here, that's more
like
of a rarity.
Special occasion. It's like,
can still happen, and then when it does happen, the celebrity or the athlete, because of where they're at, they get treated the
best. He was treated like a king.
and not only like pampered, but like, you're great, but I won't overwhelm you. I'll stay over here.
Yes.
Like, we're not going to swarm you or make you like feel overly watched or something. So that was, again, 2018. And then got the phone call, officially signed up, and it was August of 2019. You had never been to Arrowhead Stadium at all.
Right.
And I had been there equivalent of 2 times over the course of 6-7 years prior to this. And nothing consistent, no like dedicated spot to sit or where to park or anything like that. So we obviously weren't living where we are now back then. So now it's also figuring out how to get there from where we're located. And we love that we can take regular side streets to get there.
Yeah, it
takes 10-15 minutes to drive there all the way, and you don't have to line up on traffic. You don't have to navigate where you're going. We got to do that drive in our sleep by some days and nights of, we got to go. Shoo, straight line all the way there.
Yep. We got to the point where we didn't even need Google Maps because it was just like boop, boop.
But that first, because I remember that first game in particular, we were like trusting like Google Maps and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And they basically had us like go to a completely different exit, or I say entrance to Arrowhead that we're used to, where we essentially had to come in where everybody else does, off of the highway.
Yeah, I was about to say it was off the highway, I think.
And then it was like parking in the parking lot for Arrowhead and like going in a giant circle to figure out where we think is the best place to park, because we clearly had no idea in relative to the outside of the stadium where certain sections are, or what gates are good for what sections. So yeah, that was fun, attempting to figure out where to go, parking like wherever and just going inside because we were just so excited to do it anyway.
There's just so many people there. It's like kind of overwhelming at first because you don't know anything. And if it's your first time, it's like, oh my gosh, there's so many people. I'm in a sea of people. Like walking around the concourse, it's like you have to dodge people because it's like everyone's walking around, everyone's
Yep.
just jammed in there. So you have to really like be conscious of where you're at. And even though they have security, like it's still kind of sketchy sometimes. And I like walking with you just because of that reason. But
And that was preseason, so it
Yeah.
obviously wasn't as busy, wasn't as packed, wasn't as loud and
Mhm.
important as it could have been. So it was a decent way to get to our seats, figure out where we technically should be parking, what gate we should be going in,
Mhm.
what's the way to leave, and all that stuff. Because you don't know that ahead of time, and you'll cripple yourself trying to figure out that stuff prior to just
yeah, you
going
have
there,
to
getting
figure it
there,
out.
and just stomaching whatever you have to do.
Mhm.
So got to our seats, amazed at how close they were.
Oh, yeah, and when I walked in the first time, I seen like the stadium and everything. I was like, this is ginormous. I didn't expect it to be that big. It was really big, and I'd been to the Alamo Dome in Texas, and it was bigger than that. I was like, oh my
Mhm.
goodness, I'm in for a good time.
And we're not even one of the best or most recent or updated stadiums, but
Yeah,
I think people around here love that because it's got history and everything's pretty much the same on it except for some upgrades that are
Mhm.
good and needed.
Yeah, our stadium's really nice too. Like even like the bathrooms, I'm really impressed whenever I go in there because I'm a bathroom snob. They are always clean. They are never like there's never like toilet paper on the floor. There's never like napkins on the floor, anything. Like there's always an attendant that's there that if you need help or anything. Everyone's always really nice. Like there's millions of stalls, so it's like
Mhm.
fine, like nobody has to wait or anything. So that's what I like about them too is they have that care, and they even care about the bathrooms. And like even if I go to a place and I like go into a bathroom and I see like stuff on the floor, it's like, oh, they don't care,
Mhm.
or they don't have somebody that does care and has like that passion to care about their place. So I was really impressed with that when I went in the first time. But I was also impressed with like the staff that are there because they're probably way underpaid, but they are so good. They are always on it. And
Yep.
if you need help in your section, you can just text this little number and they will be right there. If you
Yep.
have a problem with somebody or if somebody's giving you trouble, they want everyone to have a good time in the stadium, and they really show that. Even like the food workers, the camera operators, everyone in there, just you can tell they like it. They like being there.
Yep, definitely. So we're exposed to where we are in relation to the field, where we need to look in order to see things at all times, which I know was exciting for you to be down lower bowls.
Yeah, it was different because when you look, we're kind of by the goalpost. So when you look out, you can't really see what's happening on the other end of the field. So you have to look up at the screen. So that was kind of hard for me to do at first with looking out and then looking up because I ended up mostly looking up at the screen at first. And I'm like, oh, I probably shouldn't do that because that's just kind of watching it on TV, you know? So I started like looking out, and I started like placing the players where they're at and stuff like that. Like Mahomes is here, Kelsey is here, and everything. So it was a little bit of a difficult challenge because I'd always been experienced to it on TV to not watch that screen and to be present and to be there in the moment. But
I definitely, as someone who even just enjoys watching it live, I still will have those moments where I might want to glance up to the screen itself to get more context.
You got to see what happened.
Because
if you
when
can't
you
see,
when you look at the field from any angle you're at, those 100 yards are a lot bigger than how they look on TV.
They are.
So to be on one end zone and try to see completely on the other end zone, you can see movement, you can see stuff like that, but
you don't know who's
down in
doing
distance, what yard line they made it to, stuff like that. Yeah, you have to kind of keep a second eye on it. But it definitely doesn't take away from the watching. I enjoy that than
Mhm.
just sitting at home waiting for
Oh,
everything to
yeah.
happen.
Yeah,
'Cause
I do
when
too.
you get the burden of TV, it's just clip, commercial, wait around for 3 minutes, it just comes and goes.
Mhm.
But it feels like forever when you're watching it on TV. When you're in the
Yeah.
stadium and you're just actually watching guys walk off the stadium or walk on the field, walk off the field,
Mhm.
get set up and stuff like that, and you realize that takes minutes. But when you're there, you're not saying, "Come on, what are we doing? Pick up the pace."
Exactly.
Why aren't
That
we
was
playing?
I was kind of surprised about that too. It felt like it went a lot faster in person than on TV, and I think that the commercials make it feel like it's longer, even though it's not. Like the
Right.
breaks in there.
Right. Yep. And everything's always filtered for TV.
Mm-hmm.
So at Arrowhead especially, they do things to keep the crowd alive.
They do.
And keep them entertained. When
We're always yelling.
periods.
We're always screaming loud as we can.
It's like to the point where if TV goes to commercial, we know what the segment are we gonna have to find the Hy-Vee logo,
Yeah,
or are
yep.
we gonna have to pick our song for the end of the day? Whatever the case,
Yeah.
some sort of interactivity. Arrowhead's really good about bringing in people, and getting them excited. You don't have to like the Chiefs, but the fan base gets excited.
Mhm.
So that was our first experience, kind of getting used to it. There was only a couple times that August, and then there was that 2-game start of the regular season where they didn't play it here. Notably, the Raiders game, last game in the Oakland Coliseum, Mahomes throws 4 touchdowns in the second quarter.
I do remember that.
So even games where it looks like we're struggling, then we just have one quarter that just smokes them all. Put a pin on that. We'll be doing that same conversation many times. But then we had to experience what a lot of people don't like to experience,
Mhm.
watching their team lose
Yep.
in the stadium.
First time seeing my team lose in the stadium, me being there, us being there.
So they lost that random night game to the Colts, where that team didn't look that great before or after that, and Mahomes
That was a frustrating game.
Mahomes got banged up a little bit, and he couldn't quite move the way that he'd want to, and his ankle gets messed up, gets noticeably slower, and we lose that game. I remember not being in the best mood leaving that stadium.
Yeah. Yep. It's never fun.
I've grown in the last few years, but like the beginning period of time, I was a baby. If my Chiefs didn't win, I'm just like so perplexed on how that could even occur. And then I'm mad that that's my circumstances.
I think a lot of people feel that way.
So having to stomach a loss after a game in Arrowhead is a tough feeling. And then if you got teams who are kind of relevant, I guess, to the area itself, that lends to have more natural fans versus
more fans,
more one-off, more than just a one-off of somebody from here, like in some random place.
Yeah.
But because it has those sort of Midwest ties, you still have like the Colts fans so excited and so happy.
Yeah.
So that was kind of our first taste of, okay, yeah, if things don't go great for our team, then we're going to be hearing about it.
Mm-hmm.
So
the fans will make us hear about it if our team loses in our stadium.
Yeah, the other team's fans will definitely have them gloating that they own Arrowhead, they own Burrowhead.
Yep.
But then to those same lines, the Texans came in, which again we'll pin that also later. Now back and forth, but they don't end up beating us that first time, which again, walking out the stadium, not very happy.
Right.
But now that I know everything, now in hindsight, I'm so glad they decided to lose that game against Houston.
True.
That specific game, not one that happens later, but just that one.
Mm-hmm. That's very true.
So then there was unfortunately that sneak in Denver where we were sitting on our couch being like, oh, is Mahomes already, is my quarterback done?
Yeah. Did he fizzle out?
Just like, oh, is he already, like we had a quarterback for one season and a few games and we're already going to lose that. But they ran on the field, they popped his knee in place, and he acted like he could keep going. So that was
That's crazy
one of
to
the
me.
signs that Mahomes is that dude. He's
Mhm.
bigger, tougher, stronger than a lot of people give him credit for.
Yeah, it's amazing how he just, I'm fine, let's go.
So, unfortunately, there was those few games where we didn't have him.
Mm-hmm.
And there was
Right.
there was that one game where the Packers came into town,
Oh my goodness.
and you know, Packer fans, y'all are a different breed. You may know that.
Yeah, that game was really the first time I think I was like screaming my lungs out. I was screaming to the top of my lungs, like banshee screaming, and I think it was 2 Packers fans in front of us, like directly in front of us. They were so mad that I was screaming, like I was screaming, and I just kept doing it. Because I mean that's what it's for. That's why I'm there.
What else am I supposed
What
to do?
else
My
am I
team is
supposed to do?
losing, and I can't gloat that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, look at the scoreboard, pal.
I'm just gonna scream at the top of my lungs. So
That's all we can do.
yeah.
That's all we can do is be politely annoying to people. I'm not gonna be
Hey.
mean, but I will yell my head off.
They knew they were coming to the loudest stadium in the world.
That's right.
So
Then immediately following that game, we had a very good November game against the Vikings, where Matt Moore wins that game for them.
oh yeah, that was a really good game.
So that was almost a throwback type of game for the Chiefs fans, because they don't know if they're going to win or
Mhm.
lose when they get into the game. They can, maybe think they're going to win or maybe think they're going to lose, but without having Mahomes, you couldn't be 100% sure. So
Mhm.
that was definitely one of those games where it's like, I hope we win, but I'm having fun.
Yeah,
It's a fun game.
it's a fun game.
You can definitely find those games, and you can kind of feel it out, whether my team's winning and we're having fun, it's going
Mhm.
well, my team is struggling, but there's still light in the air. It's not like we're gonna lose. It's all not moody that way.
Yeah, it's kind of expected. Like it's like iffy, like you said. Will we lose? Will we not lose?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes it fun, I think.
So then we destroy the Raiders after Mahomes comes back. I'll note briefly that there was that Tennessee Titans game that you were not able to watch here at home with me.
Right. Yep.
And that was
Mhm.
Mahomes' first game back from that injury. He looked great, but
Mhm.
these darn Tennessee Titans would get us this time around. Would have been in there. So he comes back. We almost beat the Titans, but they get us. We destroy the Raiders. And then we had a game against the Broncos here in Kansas City where it was pouring down snow.
Was not prepared. Oh man, I was not prepared. He could have stayed. I was dying. I was dying by it was the first quarter we left, and
you wanted to leave before the actual game
had started, and people were still filing into the stadium.
That's right.
We had to figure out how to get out because there's really it's a one-way thing, so there's really no way to like maneuver out if people are coming in, so we had to like go a different way. And I remember you were disappointed and I felt really bad because I don't know, I could have stayed, but I feel like I would have gotten real sick. And I had I think I had sweatpants on and just a North Face. It was just like a regular North Face, no snow gear, no anything. My pants were soaked by like when the national anthem was going on.
Yeah.
And Yeah, so that was our first experience with a snow game, and that taught me to be more prepared for the snow.
Yep. We have definitely grown up since then. We
Mhm.
bring 5 layers of everything.
Oh
We've
yeah,
got all the right kind of clothes.
yeah, snow pants.
You are
Need
not,
those waterproof snow pants.
you're not dragging me out of Arrowhead if you tell me a game's going to go on.
Yeah.
Whatever the conditions, I will get the clothes and
Yep.
prepared for it.
Yep.
So,
I'll not freeze my butt off.
but I mean, just to kind of summarize the rest of this, the regular season, Mahomes counts to 10 in
Mhm.
Chicago to say middle finger to Matt Nagy and Rich Trubisky. Thanks, Matt, for coming back.
Mhm.
And then like the very end of that season is the whole, will the Chiefs be able to host games in Arrowhead?
Mhm.
So it was are we going to be able to be home field?
Home field advantage.
Right. But then Brady was nice enough to lose to Miami.
That was the I'm calling both games game.
I am calling both
That was
games.
the I'm calling both games game.
I am calling both games, and this is a big deal for the Chiefs, so y'all will let me say it anyway.
Mhm. Yeah, and we were in the stadium for that because you were like, oh my gosh, Miami just beat them.
Like, you know what this means? No, not really.
Not really.
Why am I going to have to play 2 games instead of 3? This is massive. This is massive. You have no idea. So, we will get to, I think, based on how long we've already gone for,
Mhm.
I think we will actually want to put a pin
In 2019.
on this and pick up right at that first divisional round game against the Houston Texans.
Mhm.
I feel like this is a good place to stop so we don't end up
Going on.
blabbing on for 20 more
we can
minutes.
talk about this for all day.
Correct. Yep. As soon as we get the ball rolling
Yep.
about any sort of aspect of it, we can just keep
Keep
going.
going.
So one more tease of your story.
you got to hear the first story.
You got
That
a
was
story.
That was the story before this next story, so it'll fit in better.
You got a story, just not
promise.
the story you were promised. But technically, you weren't promised anything about the story, so you have no idea whether we did or did not. We didn't even have to say anything.
That's
just
very
said you did.
true.
So,
Dead. I'm dying.
so when we return for our official episode 4 of this
Mhm.
podcast, we will continue with the 2019 postseason.
Yep.
Which will include your fun story, which,
It's really special.
spoiler, involves another player of the Kansas City Chiefs who is not Marcus Kemp.
This is better. It's a better story.
It's a better story.
Mhm.
So Marcus Kemp, you're fine.
Is-
There's
no,
nothing
yeah.
wrong with your story.
Yeah.
And same situation. If anybody out there's got a funny story to say about a player who was in your drive-through, please send it over. That would be
Yes.
fantastic.
Oh my
to read.
gosh. Love hearing that.
So based on the scheduling we have, either you will see next week the episode 4 of us continuing this conversation of the 2019 postseason, or you will be seeing an episode with a special guest as one-offs. And I think for any of these special guests are just going to be one-off titles.
Yeah.
The series of you and I sitting here discussing a season or the current season or current day is our official episodes, but
Yeah.
I'll keep those individualized special guest episodes as the one-offs. I would love for those to happen more frequently and every week if they needed to.
Yeah, every other week, just have somebody else on and have them tell their story.
But would love to have those conversations keep going. So
let us know.
reached a good point. So thank you all for joining Home of the Chiefs podcast. Enjoy the rest of your day and go Chiefs.
Cheers.